Famous devotional song composed by the well-known Purandaradasa. The refrain of this song is a very important idea that we also have studied in the Gita. There the devotee prays to the Lord Narayana, O Lord, please make it for me to constantly remember you and grant me the special favor that especially at the time of leaving the body, may the nectar of your name enliven my tongue, be on my tongue. This is a very important prayer. We know from the study of the Bhagavad Gita that the thought that is uppermost in our minds at the last moment of our earthly life, that is an indicator of our future. There are so many stories to illustrate this. Most famous among them being the story of Ajamila. Ajamila was originally a very nice person, virtuous person, but he fell into bad ways and he did some things which were totally unacceptable. But at the time of death, he happened to say the word Narayana. Narayana means the Lord, any God, any name. God has innumerable names, as you have seen, infinite names. Any name is okay. So he called his last son Narayana. He had some children, and then the last boy was very dear to him. Ajamala was very much attached to the last youngest child. So he named him Narayana. It's customary to name children after the names of the Lord or goddess. Gauri, Parvati, Durga, Lalita, like this we give names to girls when they are born. Rama, Krishna, Shiva, like this we give names to boys when they are born. One idea being that every time we call the child, we also utter the name of God, which is itself beneficial. And that is what Ajamila did at the last moment when he was on his deathbed and he was about to die. So at the time of death, he was very much attached to the last child. So he called the last child. He didn't have any thought of God or anything, though he was a virtuous person to begin with. So in the middle he lost his path, fell from the path a little bit. Digression happened. Detour happened. So he called this child Narayana, Narayana like this, about to die. When he uttered the name Narayana, Yama's Dutas came to take him to Yamaloka because he had done all kinds of bad deeds. Messengers from Yama came, Lord of Death came, because they thought he should go to the place, Yama's kingdom, to get the judgment, a lot of bad things he had done. At the same time, Vishnu's Dutas also came because they heard the name of their Lord Vishnu, Narayana is called. So, he is calling our Lord, we should go and get him to Vishnu Loka Vaikuntha. So, they came and they both fought. Yama's Dutas messengers, no, he belongs to our kingdom, he done all bad deeds. He may have done all bad deeds. Vishnu's messengers, no, but he took out the Lord's own name, he is going to our kingdom. No such thing. So, finally, it seems he ended up going to the Vishnu Loka, Vaikuntha, because the name of the God is infallible. Amogha. Amogha means infallible. Once you utter the name of God, knowingly, unknowingly, intentionally, unintentionally, it has to affect, it has to act. Its power is infallible. The power of God's name is infallible. So we have to be able to remember God, utter God's name, or Om, at the time of death. But how will it be possible unless we have been practicing taking the name of God all our lives? We don't know whether we will have children named Narayana, we don't know whether we will call him or not, but we have to. Sri Krishna says, Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mam anusmara. We have to practice taking the name of God from now on. So that there is a high probability that we will be taking the name of God at the time of death. Whatever thought is uppermost in our minds most of our lifetime, that thought is most likely to come at the time of death. If I have been thinking about money, money, money all my life, what will I be thinking at the time of death? I will think, oh, I want to make some more money. I made all the money. Who is going to take it? This thought of money will come. Whatever thought I have been thinking most often in my life, I am most likely to think about that thought at the time of death. But if I want to make sure that I will be thinking about God, I will be uttering God's name, I must practice thinking about God and uttering His name all the time from now on. That is Sri Krishna's teaching. Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mamanismara. Yudhyacha. Yudhyacha means doing your duty. So there are two slokas we have to know in the Gita. One sloka is Antyakale smaran muktva kalevaram tyajati sayati paramamgati. Yah prayati deham sayati paramamgati. Antakale, even at the last moment, Mam anusmara deham tyaja. Remember me and give up your body. That is the instruction. And the general principle is also in the same chapter, 7th chapter. There Sri Krishna says, Omityekaksharam brahma vyaharan mam anusmaran yah prayati tyajam deham sayati paramam gatim. Especially emphasizes Om. Om can be chanted or any name of God can be chanted. Om is Ekaksharam Brahma Vyaharan means pronouncing, uttering. Mamanusmaran, remembering me, the Lord is saying. Yahadeham Tyaktva Prayati Saha Paramam Gatim Yati. He reaches the highest goal, namely the abode of God. So when we begin our study or any activity, it is customary in our very rich cultural heritage to take the name of God in some suitable way. Gopala Bolo Jai, Govinda Bolo Jai, Hari Bolo, like this, or any devotional song, in any way, some way, shape or form, we have to take the name of God and begin all our activities with all our activities. That is why the devotional singing at the beginning of the class is a very meaningful activity and full of our tradition emphasizes that very much. Now we will go to 13th chapter where we were studying Jnana, the Lakshanas of Jnani. What are the signs of knowledge? Amanitvam adambitvam ahimsa kshantirarjavam. That one, you bring that one. So long list of qualities of a Jnani, or what are the signs of Jnana? In the second meeting of Sri Ramakrishna with M. Mahendranath Gupta, this topic came. It was a very significant meeting. Whole teaching of Sri Ramakrishna is given in that one meeting in a nutshell form, in a condensed form. The rest of it was 4.5 years of the teaching, was elaboration and repetition and examples, illustration with examples. There are two branches of knowledge. Whole universe of knowledge, if you take, you can divide it into two broad categories. What are they called? Aparavidya and Paravidya. That we are familiar. Aparavidya means all the branches of knowledge we study in schools and academic institutions, including all the branches of humanity, social sciences, science and technology, engineering, everything. And that is all comes in the big umbrella of Aparavidya. That is worldly knowledge of the world, acquired through the instrumentality of the mind, and it has some limitations, it has some advantages. The advantages, it helps us to lead a decent life and make a livelihood. It is necessary, it is important to have that one. The Upanishad does not put it down. Vedya, Vedita, both have to be known, it says. We don't put down Western education, as some people are doing now. Western education, nothing wrong with it, because without it, all the science and technology, how the advancement can happen. So it's necessary. We have to study that one, but not sufficient. We have to study knowledge of the self. We have to go inwards. Knowledge of the outside world is aparavidya. All outside objects through the mind. The disadvantage is because mind is the instrument of acquiring that knowledge where it is retained. When with age mind becomes weaker, deteriorates, that knowledge also fades away. Supposing somebody has a PhD in some subject, chemistry or mathematics or sociology or something, very good, at the peak, at the forefront of knowledge, cutting edge of knowledge when they are doing research. And they practice, do research and they carry it forward, advance it. But after retirement, rapidly we forget everything we studied. We are not going to the lab anymore, we are not teaching, writing papers, or attending conferences anymore. And we rapidly forget what we studied, and when old age comes, memory loss, we forget everything, dementia, etc. becomes worse. So that is the disadvantage. With this life it ends. But aparavidya is not like that. Aparavidya is knowledge of the self, our true nature, identity is divine. We are all potentially divine. Swamiji says, Upanishad says, each soul is potentially divine. The divinity is sitting within us. Knowledge of the divinity, experience in the divinity is paravidya. That is true knowledge. That is one kind of better, different kind of knowledge. Both are needed, but this is not limited to one life. It does not depend upon the condition of the mind, and does not end with this life. It confers immortality. That is the knowledge, true knowledge. So that had to be clarified to him. In that context, Sri Ramakrishna says, name of God is very important. So when we remember God every time, it cleanses our mind, removes all the bad impressions, and in their place puts new good impressions, which take us closer to our ultimate goal of immortality. Those teachings come. The knowledge there means these are the qualities of a knowledgeable person. So how to recognize a person has that kind of knowledge or not, paravidya or not? If a person has aparavidya, then we know from his degrees, visiting colleges, PhD, all those things he will write, PE, all those things he will write. Then we know he has studied all these things. But how do we know that he has aparavidya? It is paravidya, that is knowledge of God. There is no outward sign. Holy Mother says if a person knows God, he does not grow a pair of horns. He appears like everybody else. Physically, there is no change, there is no distinction. He looks like everybody else, Brahmajnani. You can dismiss them as an ordinary person. But these are the signs. That's why we are this set of slokas come 7 to 10 comes. These are the signs, a long list Sri Krishna gives. If a person has all or at least some of these qualities that are listed here, starting from sloka 7, then we can know that he has paravidya, he has knowledge of God. If a person has knowledge of God, then these qualities we can see in his personality. We have to know that because we have to emulate, practice those virtues. The main reason why these lists are given, many times Sri Krishna gives lists. He is fond of making lists. Second chapter he gives list of Siddha Prajna Selekshana. Then 6th chapter gives Yogi Selekshana. 12th chapter he gives the list of Bhakta Selekshana. 14th chapter gives list of the Triguna-atita Selekshana. Like this one. These are the signs of a Jnani, Brahmajnani, Atmajnani. If somebody has many or at least some of these qualities, then we can emulate that person. We can learn from that person. That is the purpose why this list is given. Another purpose of this list is how to recognize a holy person. Sri Ramakrishna again and again emphasizes the importance of holy company. Narada also, other teachers also, Sri Ramachandra also, Prahlada also. They emphasize the importance of Sajjana Sangha, Sadhu Sangha, Sat Sangha. Because they purify our minds. They motivate us, that they lead us in the path of spirituality. Not only is it necessary, Narada Maharshi says, to have company of holy people, it's equally important to avoid the company of unhelpful people, bad people. Dussanga sarvataiva tyajyaha, like this one sutra is there in Narada Bhakti Sutra. Bad company has to be, by all means, at all costs, has to be avoided, prevented, because very harmful. Then explains how harmful it is. We will not go into that. So, in order to recognize a holy person, sadhu, we have to know what are the qualities to look for in that person's personality. So then this list will help us to identify a holy person. So we are doing ninth sloka. Asaktirama vishvanga putradara grahadishu nityam cha samachittatvam ishtanishtabhavattishu. This we did. Okay. The last quality is very important. Ishta means something desirable, agreeable, which we think is good. Anishta means opposite, something which is not desired, undesirable, something which is bad. Upapatti means approval. When something good happens or something bad happens, one of these keeps on happening in our lives. Nobody's life is only full of good, or nobody's life is only full of bad. It's a mixture. Everybody's life is a mixture, proportion varies. When a person encounters good times or adversity, that person should remain calm. This is one message of Gita that comes in many places. Sukha dukkhe same kritva, like this. Na prahrushyet priyam prapya. Priyam prapya kyan kuryat? Na udvijet. Priyam means something desirable, like agreeable. Apriyam means something not agreeable, adversity, bad experience, suffering. Na prahrushyet priyam prapya. When something good happens, we should not be so much elated that we lose control. We should feel good. We should not feel bad. When good happens, we are entitled to happiness. We can enjoy, but we should keep it in balance, in perspective. You can see that some sports fan, they go completely out of control when their team wins. Destroy all the property, turn cars and set fires to cars and drink and get arrested and stab and all these things. We read them in newspaper. That is the way of celebrating happiness, celebrating their success. There is no control. That we should not do when good thing happens. Your team wins, it's good, you enjoy, be happy, you don't have to be unhappy. But if your team loses again, fans become so angry that they go and destroy everything. That is not right. Priyam prapya no udvijet, apriyam prapya no udvijet, priyam prapya na prahrushyet. Remain balanced, sukha dukkhe same kritva. Keep the amplitude within reasonable limits, don't go out of control. Happiness in good times or bad times. That is what ishta anishta apapattishu nityam cha samachittatvam. That is the last quality we were studying. Samachittatvam means equanimity of the mind. Mind must be kept equipoised, equanimous under all circumstances. Something good happens, something bad happens. Always one of these two happens. Sometimes both happen at the same time. Some experience comes, some part of it is good, some part of it is bad. That's nature of life. Nobody can prevent. No one is exempt. Even great Mahatmas had to go through great adversity. People blame them. That's why Swamiji said in Song of Sannyasin, let one put garlands on, another kick this frame, say not. No praise or blame can be. The praiser praised and blamer blamed are one. Thus be thou calm, Sannyasin bold, say, Om Tat Sat Om. Remaining calm. Good happens, bad happens, they come in turn. A famous dramatist, Vasa said, man's fortune is like a point on the circumference of a wheel. Sometimes it goes up, sometimes it comes down. Wheel is moving. If the wheel is stationary, good always, the upper point stays always up, down, but then there is no journey. you become stagnant, but life is moving. You can't stop the flow of life. Chakrarapanti ravagacchati bhagyapamtihi. This beautifully it says. That is nature of life. Good, bad, they come. Sometimes together, sometimes one after another. That is everybody's. No one is exempt from this inevitability of suffering and vicissitudes of life. Therefore, what a jnani does or should do is samachittatvam, nityam cha samachittatvam. All the time, good happens or bad happens, I try to remain calm. I don't become arrogant and lose control if something good happens. Or I don't lose control and become depressed, rejected, angry, bitter when something bad happens. I maintain my equanimity. Yes, this too should pass. Why bad things happen is a question which everybody has been asking from the beginning of mankind. But there seems to be no acceptable answer why bad things happen to good people. There is a book written by Harold Kushner, Rabbi. There is no clear answer. We don't have clear answer. Except karma theory, there is no other explanation. Karma theory does not solve the problem. If you say it's due to bad karma before, then I still have to contend with the problem. I can't go back in time and change the bad karma into good karma. That won't happen. So it's only an explanation. It may give some consolation, some solace, some way to deal with the problem, but problem has to be dealt with. So we have to deal with the problem and remain calm, as calm as possible under circumstances. Nityam cha samachittatvam ishta-nishta-upapattishu. Ishta-nishta-upapatti. When good or bad things happen, nityam always samachittatvam, the equanimity of mind has to practice. These are the qualities of a jnani. If we want to become jnanis, educated people, knowledgeable people, people with knowledge, then we have to practice these virtues. That's the purpose why this list is given. We have to practice these virtues. Then gradually our ignorance is cleared and knowledge of the self will dawn. That's the goal. Now we go to the next sloka. 10th sloka. 10, 11. Two more slokas are there in this segment. Let us chant sloka number 10. Vichananya yogena bhaktiravya vicharini vivikta desha sevitvam aratirjana samsadi. Here translation is unwavering devotion to me without attachment to aught else, resort to solitary spots and aversion to human crowds. Here Bhagavan says, Sri Krishna says, Mayicha ananya yogena abhivicharini bhakti. Very interesting idea. Anya means different. Ananya means no other different. Single-minded, one-pointed, single-minded devotion, bhakti. Bhakti is ananya bhakti. Last night we were talking about different kinds of bhakti. One kind of bhakti which Sri Krishna recommends, other teachers recommend is one-pointed, single-minded devotion to God. We all have devotion to God, others do not be here. We all have devotion to God. But our devotion is not one-pointed. We are devoted to other things also besides God. God it comes somewhere near the top it comes. If you ask generally anybody who comes here, what is the most important thing, top of your priority list, to-do list? You generally say God. Whether some hesitation may be there, because family may come first, devotion to God, devotion to family, devotion to job, devotion to some ideal, devotion to some cause, devotion to making money. So devotion is there but distributed among other things, among many things. That is not one-pointed, single-minded devotion. Sri Krishna says, pure devotion is that which only devotion to God and God alone, nothing else matters in this world. Jnani also, Atma, Swaswarupanusandhanam Bhakti-ritta vidiyate. Shankaracharya defines bhakti in the same way, but in a different twist, with a different twist. Shankaracharya also talks about bhakti, not always only jnana. Devasudamani, there is one verse, many of you remember that one. There he says, Moksha sadhana samagryam bhaktireva gariyasi. Moksha sadhana samagri means among the various means, paths available for moksha, liberation, many paths are available, karma yoga, jnana yoga, all those things are available to take us to the ultimate goal of realization. Among all of them, moksha sadhana samagriyam, bhakti reva gariyasi. Bhakti alone stands supreme, excels. He also accepts that one. But his definition of bhakti is devotion to realization of the self. Not a personal God, Ishvara, but devotion to the ideal of divinity present within me. Brahman, Atman present within me. Swaswarupa anusandhanam. Swaswarupa, my real nature. My real nature, Swarupa. What is my real nature? What am I truly? Am I the body? Am I the mind? Am I the sense organs? Am I the things I possess? Am I the house? Am I the car? Am I the job? What am I? Vedanta says you are none of these things. You are the self within, you are the Atma. Tattvamasi, it says. That's what it says. But an ordinary person, enveloped in darkness, he says, I am the body, I am the mind. But Jnani says, I am not the body, I am not the mind, I am the Atman. But Nirvana Shatkam, which you sometimes chant, Friday class we chant every class, it says, I am none of these things. I am not the body, I am not the mind, I am not the sense organs, I am not any of these Panchamahabhutas, I am the Atman. Chidanandarupa Shivoham Shivoham. So we chant it. Manobodhyaham chitta ninaham na cha shrotra jihve na cha grana netre na cha vyoma bhumir na tejo na vayuh chidananda rupaham shivoham shivoham chidananda rupaham shivoham shivoham. Jnani's assertion. Manha buddhi ahankara chittani naham. I am not the mind, I am not the body, I am not the intellect, I am not the memory, I am not this, I am not that. Nacha grana netre, nacha shrotra jihve, all these sense organs I am not. What am I then? Chidananda rupa shivoham shivoham. I am not that Paramashim, Paramatma, Parabrahman, Chidananda rupa. That Shiva I am. Asserts Shivoham, Shivoham. That is the devotion to that self, that I am that self, I am not the body and the mind. I want to realize it, I want to experience it. That devotion is bhakti. Jnani also is a bhakta, but his bhakti is directed towards his self. An ordinary bhakta is also a bhakta. His bhakti is devoted to a personal God idea, Rama, Krishna. Eventually both are same. Both are same, as Ramakrishna clarifies. So that one-pointed devotion, Bhakti Avyavicharani means loyal, without any other distraction. Only God is the ultimate goal, and I want to realize that. If there is something else attracting our attention, dividing our devotion, then that is not Avyavicharani Bhakti. It is not single-pointed. It's not undiluted. Undiluted, single-pointed, one-pointed, single-minded devotion to God is the sign of jnana. Describing sign of jnana, he says bhakti. You can't really separate them. They appear to be 4 different paths or 5 different paths, but if you make progress in any one, they all converge and eventually all culminate in the same goal. Lot of discussion, fighting, oh, I am a jnana, you are a karma yogi, you will never reach God. You'll be always doing somewhat like this discussion. Not necessary. They appear to be so different and far apart in the beginning stages of sadhana. But if you make a little bit of progress, keep aside all the arguments and everything, for the time being, let us do something. If you make a little bit of progress, you will see that everybody is converging. Earlier I gave the example of reaching a summit, a mountain, Himalaya, the Mount Everest is there. And 4 different groups start climbing the summit, climbing the mountain. One base camp in Nepal, one in China, one in India, one in another place in Tibet, some place. Base camps are different, 4 different approaches. When they are at the ground level, they are all far apart, thousands, hundreds of miles apart. Different countries. But everybody, they should not discuss, this is base camp is the only one which will take you to the summit. You're starting the wrong point, you should not say to that as a person. Give them a chance and you stick to your own path. Keep aside all discussions and which is better. Keep it aside and other ways for some time. Focus on climbing the mountain rather than discussing which path is better. You are in one base camp, you stick to that. Climb down. As they make progress about 1/3 of the way up, they say they are also coming closer to you. The distance between them becomes less as they make progress towards the peak. 3/4 of the way, they can almost see each other. At the base camp, ground level, they are all far apart from each other. But as they climb towards the summit, they approach each other also. They approach summit, approach each other also. The distance between them becomes less and less. And when they reach the goal, same. At that point, doesn't matter how you reach the goal. You reach the goal. That's the important thing. Therefore, all discussion about which path is better is unnecessary, waste of time and energy. Rather than engaging in that discussion, we have chosen some path. God has placed us in some place. Let us stick to that. Keep all the criticism, discussion, everything aside for the time being. Focus on climbing, on making progress. That is the idea. Bhakti Ravi Vicharani means without dividing our devotion among so many distributing among so many different goals, keep God as the only goal. One pointed, single-minded devotion to God. That is the sign of jnana. See, at that point, jnana bhakti difference will evaporate. Lot of discussion of jnana is different, bhakti is different, like that. Unnecessary. Second line, Divikta Desha Sevitvam. Divikta Desha Sevitvam. Sri Ramakrishna also says this. Among the 8 things he said, one thing was frequently resorting to solitude. We have to go into solitude. Divikta Desha means solitary place. We have to go into solitude. Even to a small extent, to the extent possible. Everybody cannot go to some retreat center and stay for 1 month there because they have jobs and families to take care of. At least 1 weekend in a month or 1 weekend in 6 months, we have to take time off and we have to go into solitude. At that time, we should not take all the accoutrements to which we are tied electronically. The cell phone and the laptop and the tablet and the something here in the ear which always is ready to receive calls and buzzer and all those things if you take, then there is solitude. Physically you are not in company of people, but you are always in touch with people. Somebody calls you, then you have to take the call. So keep these things, connections aside for a short time. Doesn't that be a long period of time, as much as possible. Sri Ramakrishna says he starts with 6 months or 1 year, but many people cannot go here for 6 months or 1 year. People have families and things to do. Or like go for 3 days. Even for 1 day, he says, if you go to total solitude, no connection with outside world, and only think about God during that period of time, that will help you to make rapid progress. Vivikta Desha, resorting to solitary places as often as possible, practical. There are limitations, but do we give orally pursuit because it's difficult? How difficult it is to become a doctor or engineer, how many years of study you have to do? Do we give it up? No, people want to do that. They will take up challenges. Yes, this is difficult. I'm not going to give up because it is difficult. Anything worthwhile is difficult in life, but I'm going to do it. That same thing has to be applied here. I was telling some other group, to become a physician, how many years one has to study? High school, college, 4 years, already 16 years, 12 years plus 4 years, 16 years, medical school, 4 years, and then residency, minimum 3 years, maybe 4 years, then fellowship, 1 years, if depending on the specialty you choose, Your residency may be 5 years for radiology, EMT, etc., 5 years. Surgery, 7 years. And fellowship on top of that, 1 or 2 years. So how many years? Goes on and on and on. Then it is not the end. Every 10 years you apply for recertification again, take the board exam, the continuing education. It never ends. It's difficult. Is it easy? No. But people don't do it. Don't do it. Yes, I want to become a physician. That I want to do that one, determination, we have to strengthen that. We have that, we have to strengthen that one. Yes, there are difficulties and obstructions, but I'm not going to be deterred by those. I'm going to pursue my goal, no matter how difficult it is. Like that. Vivikta Desha Sevitvam Aratir Janasamsadi. Janasamsad means large crowds of people. That is always, it is not conducive. If you are watching a football game with 48 other thousand people, then you know where to remember God, or you are so much absorbed in the game. The stadium is so roaring with so much noise. 40, 50,000 people are watching, and so many people at homes in the front of their TVs. So there is no way to focus your attention. You are only thinking about who is carrying the ball and how many points and how many yards somebody ran, all those things. So we have to stay in small groups of similar-minded people, similar interests. Then that is strengthens also. Some synergy will be there. If you find a small group of devotees who have similar interests, who study the same kind of books and practicing the same kind of thing, then it will strengthen your practice a little bit. And it has to be a small group. Even if you are 10,000 people, Murari Bapu comes there with 50,000 people, then again it becomes Janasamsad. Lot of other conversation creeps in. So Vivikta Desha Saivitvam Aratir Janasamsadi. Arati means lack of interest, lack of delight. Rati means delight. Janasamsad means large congregations of people. Then you are swayed into that mood. You can't be independent in your thinking. The large congregations, everybody becomes a part of that mob, part of that group, and thinking is swayed in different direction. So small group of devotees, okay. Or ideally alone, lonely, solitude. So that is the idea. Mai chāninya yogena bhaktiravyavicharini vivikta desha sevitvam aratirjana samsadi. Now one more sloka is remaining in that segment. Let us go to next sloka. Then we'll try to do as much as possible. Sloka number 11. Adhyatma jnana nityatvam tattva jnanartha darshanam etad jnanamiti proktam Ajnanam yadatonyatha. Unfailing cultivation of spiritual knowledge, perception of the content of philosophical knowledge, all this is said to be knowledge. What is other than this is ignorance. So the sentence goes for 5 shlokas. This is the concluding part of the sentence. What is knowledge, what is ignorance? That was the question. Whatever this list of things, all knowledge, whatever it is not, opposite to that is ignorance. That's what concludes that segment. So, concluding, 2 more ideas are given here. First one is Adhyatma Jnana Nityatvam. Here it says, Shankara says, Adhyatma Jnana Nityatvam Atmadi Vishayam Jnanam Adhyatma Jnanam Tasmin Nityabhavaha Nityabhavam Amanitvam Nityadhinam. Adhyatma Jnana means Adhi Atma, self within. Adhyatma, you know the term Adhyatma from or Adhyatma Shanti, Adhyatmikata, etc. Self within. In everyone, the same self is present. That's we know from the earlier studies. One self present in all, like one space present in all the containers. Supposing you have kitchen full of pots and pans. Some are very small, like a 6-ounce cup is there, and some are 1 gallon containers are there, jars are there, and some are 5 gallon containers, some are very big container is there. And outside the kitchen there is a water tank which holds 50 gallons or 100 gallons of water. Supposing all of them are empty, then space is there in all of them. Shared space is only one, indivisible, undivided, though it appears to be separated from container to container. When there is container or not, space is there in all of them. But in each container, space seems to have acquired temporarily the limitations, qualities of the container. If the cylindrical cup, round cup, space inside it seems to be cylindrical in section, but if there is a rectangular container, gallon jar or something, space seems to have become rectangular, but it is not neither cylindrical nor rectangular. It has no shape, it has no color. The container may be green, so the space inside will not become green. Container may be yellow, space does not become yellow. It has no qualities at all. Atman is something like that. Some crude example, but to visualize. All these beings in this universe are containers. Some are small, some are big, some are human, some are non-human containers. In all of them, only content is Atman. Where do we know? Many places in the Gita. Tell me one place where Sri Krishna says, same self is present in all the beings. Kshetrajñam chapi mam vidhi sarva kshetreshu bharata. Same chapter, second verse. Sarva kshetreshu, in all the bodies and minds. Kshetra means body in the mind. That we studied earlier. Mamekam kshetrajñam vidhi. Know me to be the one indwelling spirit. He is one, containers are many. Space is one, containers are many. All different. No two containers look alike. They are all different in qualities. But content in all of them is only one. Space is same. That content does not change. Avivaktam cha bhuteshu vivaktam cha sthitam. Avivaktam means in space is indivisible. Atman is indivisible. One continuum of consciousness, awareness. Vivaktam cha sthitam. As if it is divided into different parts, compartments, but as if you are really not. Space. Supposing you have a green bulb, electric bulb. In Christmas time you have different colored bulbs. Now the space inside the bulb is not green. It looks like green from the outside, but it is the container that is green. Space does not become green. If they contain the glass, the red glass container is there, space is inside, appears that it does not become red. It is unchangeable. Indivisible, unchangeable, one space occupying all the diverse different types of containers. Like that, Atman is one. That knowledge, that self is same in all. That is eternal. Nahanyate hanyamane sharire. When the container breaks, space does not break. It remains intact, unaffected. It cannot be affected. Nenam chinnanti shastrani, nenam dhati pavaka, all those things you know. Fire does not burn it, water does not wet it, etc. Nothing can change it. What can you change? Space. You can't make it wet. You can't make it dry. You can't make it small. You cannot make it big. All those qualities are superimposed temporarily. It does not really change. There is no real change in it. Like that. That knowledge of the unchanging, eternal, infinite self, pervading all, that knowledge is knowledge of the self, Adhyatma Jnana. Knowledge of containers is Aparavidya. Container also requires knowledge. Knowledge of that is also necessary. What kind of container? Is it glass? Is it breakable? Is it stainless steel? Can it be polished? So what kind? How many? What is the capacity? 6 ounces or 1 gallon or 25 gallons? All these are qualities of containers that you have to know. But that does not give us a clue of the nature of the contents. That is Adhyatma Jnana. This is Aparavidya. Knowledge of containers is Aparavidya. That the human body is a container of same Paramatma. Not limited human bodies, but human bodies. And my body includes mind. When in Vedanta, when you say Deha or Sharira, unless otherwise specified,
It includes all the shariras, physical as well as subtle, mind as well as body. Sthula Sharira, Sukshma Sharira, all are included, except when one of them is specifically pointed out. Therefore, in all the bodies, Sarveshu Bhuteshu Tishtantam Parameshwaram, the Lord is sitting. Some up to the same extent, not more in some, less in others. That's a very important point. Everybody should be given respect and treated with compassion and kindness and love, because same Atman is present in all. That's the basis for all our moral conduct, our ethical rules. Why we should not tell lie to somebody if I can get away with that one? Why I should not cheat somebody if I can get away with that one? Why should I be compassionate and not cruel to animals and plants and people? All these rules have the same basis, same Atman in all. If I lie to you, whom am I lying to? Lord sitting in his listening to my words. All ears are his ears, he is hearing through all the pairs of ears. All eyes are his eyes, he is seeing through all the pairs of eyes. All legs are his legs, all feet are his feet, he is walking through all the feet. All hands are his hands. Like this, you study that one. Where does it come? Sarvata Padipadam Tat Sarvatok Shishiro Mukam Sarvata Shrutimad Loke Sarvam Avritya Tishtati. Pervading everything, he is present. That knowledge is Adhyatma Jnana. Adhyatma Jnana Nityatvam. In other words, Adhyatma Jnana is roughly equivalent to Paravidya. Nityatvam, we should be established, not sporadically, not a flash of that, but we should be constantly aware of the presence of self, or replace it by God. It doesn't matter, convenience. I don't have the problem with the word God. We should be constantly, each one of us must be aware or make ourselves aware, practice awareness of the presence of God in everyone. That should govern all our behavior towards each other. That is the guiding foundation of all our life. Adhyatma Jnana is the foundation for our life. For everything we do in our life must take into account that Adhyatma Jnana, God is present. If I have a tendency to do something wrong, then I should remind myself, the Lord is watching from within me. Every thought that crosses my mind, He is aware of that one. You cannot read my, I can say nice words, nice outfit can carry bad thoughts that you won't know, but I cannot cheat Him. He is aware of everything. He is Antaryami. He is inner controller. His presence within me. If I am aware of that, then the tendency to do undesirable things will become less, automatically become less. Constant practice of awareness of the presence of God in all, God herself in all, that is Adhyatma Jnana. Nityatvam should be established in practice. Only when you do puja in your puja room, you remember God. When you go out into the world, you do whatever you like. This is not Nityatvam. For a short time, you are Adhyatma Jnani. Yeah, when you are chanting Vishnu Sahasranama or Hanuman Chalisa, reading Ramana in your puja room, then you are Adhyatma Jnana, you have, God is present. The moment you walk out into the dining room, then you start abusing the other person in the family. That is not good. This should carry all the time and pervade all our thoughts and activities. Adhyatma Jnana Nityatvam is a very important quality. Something to be practiced by everybody. All these things have to be practiced, not merely studying, memorizing, but we have to put into practice this thing, then only they become jnanis, Atma Jnanis, Brahma Jnanis. Simply reading is the first step. We have to read. Shravana is necessary, but we should not stop there. We should put them into practice. So, Adhyatma Jnana Nityatvam means constant practice of the awareness of God, of self. So, Adhyatma Jnana Nityatvam means constantly trying to remember the presence of God in all the beings, not only beings, living beings, inanimate objects also. Inanimate objects also, same divinity is pulsating. So we should not only we should be kind to people, gentle to people, animals and plants, but inanimate things also. When you close the car door or door of this room, Don't slam it gently. Dwara Devata Bhyo Namaha. We say when you do puja. See the presence of God in inanimate objects. Holy Mother just did that one. You remember her teaching? When somebody in her household swept the floor with the broom, as they do in India even now, they sweep the floor with the broom, they simply dust rises and again it settles down. And gather dust and put it in front of the house in the street. That in Islam. That's not right. Dharti, earth is a sacred living being, pulsating with life. How can you put litter? Don't litter. $300 fine you see on the road in this country. They are very aware of that one. They teach children not to put trash everywhere but in the trash can. Dispose of it properly. But we have to do that one. Vedanta means what? Vedanta means not going to Himalaya cave and meditating on Brahman. Vedanta means small activities of life. Unless we do these things, thinking of high ideas, but what do we do in practice every day? Putting litter everywhere? What kind of Vedantin is that person who put litters and underneath? That does not. Gentleness towards inanimate objects. Everywhere it is pulsating with consciousness, same vibration. Now, did we read that one? Even in inanimate objects? Kathopanishad, remember one shloka which comes often. Yama says to Nachiketa, even in Gita, we don't have to go to Kathopanishad. Esha sarvesha bhuteshu gudu atmane prakasha, that shloka. If that is difficult, go back to the same. It comes later in the same chapter, 26, make a note of it. You are not reached there yet, but make a note. When you come to 26, this point will come. There Sri Krishna says in the same chapter 13:26, Yavat samjayate kinchit sattvam stavara jangamam kshetra kshetrajna samyogat tadvidhi bharatasya bhava. Whatever is this stavara jangama. Stavara means stay put, not moving. Like trees and mountains, everything is moving related to something else, but related to earth, they are not moving. They are called sthavara. Jangama means moving things, animals and people. Fortunately, mountains are not moving, otherwise nobody will be safe, nothing will be safe. Trees are staying put where they are. So, avat sanjavayate kinchit satam sthavara jangama. It's all a combination. Samyoga means combination of two things. Kshetra, kshetrajna, samyogat. Everything you see in the universe, earth, sun, star, moon, satellites, and everything on the earth, plants, trees, animals, people, good people, bad people, wicked people, saintly people, everything without any exception, no exception in Vedanta, no fine print, except no such fine print in Vedanta. Everything means everything. Is a combination of two dimensions, two aspects. A physical, material aspect which is visible to the eye and sense organs, and hidden behind it, in a subtle way, the spiritual aspect, consciousness aspect. That awareness of the consciousness aspect, spiritual aspect of every being, and practicing it, and fine-tuning our behavior, keeping that ideal in mind, what is present in that person, in that thing, in that cup, on the floor. We have to model our behavior, shape our behavior. That's the application part. When you deal with somebody, keep in mind, he may be a wicked person, troublesome person. Thank you for being such a pain in that book. Actually, if somebody is giving you a lot of trouble in the family or in the workplace, you should be thankful to them. Why? Bina sabuna pani bina nirmala kari sabai. They will clean up your ego without soap and water. Keep them in your front yard. So don't despise bad people. They have their special place in our life. They are there to accomplish a very good mission in our life. Help us to clean up our egos. It is through suffering, it is through adversity that we grow spiritually strong. So they are providing that opportunity to clean our egos and to teach us patience and forbearance. Titiksha, they are teaching us titiksha, forbearance. So we should be thankful to them. Thank you for being such a pain. That book many of you read. You can buy that from the Vedanta Society here. It's a very useful book. Remember that. No hatred towards evil people. But we don't hate anybody. But if we have some tendency to dislike strongly somebody who is not, according to our expectations, a nice person, we should not carry any hatred in our hearts towards that person. Because Sarveshu Bhuteshu Ishvara Tishtati, Ishvara Sarvabhutanam Pradesha Arjuna Tishtati. Oh, I was thinking about you this morning. Now that person is come. Okay. Now let us conclude this one. Adhyatma Jnana Nityatam, constantly remembering the presence of the divine in all the beings at all times, and accordingly shaping our behavior on that principle, on that base. That is Adhyatma Jnana Nityatva. Very important quality. Last one, Tattva Jnana Artha Darshanam, perception of the content of philosophical knowledge. Tattva Jnana, Artha means object. Tattva Jnana means philosophy, knowledge of the self. What is the content of the object of knowledge of the self? Atman. Atman is the Tattva Jnana Artha. Artha means object of study in philosophy, in Vedanta, is Atman. What do we study in Vedanta? We study Atman, nature of the self. Nityatva. Tattva Jnana Artha Darshanam. Keeping in mind that we are primarily spiritual beings with a physical body as an upadhi, as an appended thing. The physical body is like the garment I am wearing. I am not the garment. To claim that I am the garment, I am the shirt, I am the chadar, makes no sense. But that seems to be what we are doing all the time when you say I am the body, I am the mind, etc. So where do we study that the body is only a garment? Vasamsi jirnani yatha vihaya namani grihnati naroparani tatha sharirani vihaya jirnani anyani samyati namani dehi. Just like a worn out garment, torn, unfit to be used, is cast aside and a new garment is worn, but the person remains the same. I am the wearer of the garment, I am not the garment. I am the wearer of the body, I am the Atman wearing the body. When this body becomes old, then I cast it aside and I may take on, or I may not even take another body. But I am the Atman. That awareness of Adhyatma Jnana Nityatvam, Tattva Jnana Artha Darshanam, keeping that in mind, Tattva Jnana, knowledge of the self. This is all from Shloka 7 onwards until first line of Shloka 11. Whatever is described, all that is qualities of Jnana. Etad Jnanamiti Proktam. Yadato Anyatha, anything other than that. Amanitvam, first quality. What is opposite to that? Manitvam, arrogance. Amanina Mamadena Kirtaniya Sadaharihi Chatinimam Prabhusya. We should remember, chant God's name, Hari Kirtana we have to do, Harinam Sankirtan we have to do, but how? Not with arrogance, oh I am taking name of God, I am such a great man, like that one, no. With humility, Hamanina, not claiming honor for oneself, Jnana Manadena, giving honor to all, showing respect to all, not claiming respect. Look at me, what a great person I am, bow down to me. Wrong, Ajnana, that is total Ajnana. But I am an ordinary person, I show respect to you because God is present in you. Namaste means that. Namaskara Namaste means I bow down divinity within you. Tattva Jnana Artha Darshanam. Etad Jnanamiti Proktam. Anyatho Yadato Anyatha Ajnanam Proktam. It is Ajnana. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah. Sarve Santu Niramaya. Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kasyit Dukkha Bhavet